Hey guys, I've been doing some thinking. Who gives the power to the CDC or the WHO as an authority for making world decisions on mandating things and whatnot? You know, the crazy thing about all that is, the initial hype from the media is what sticks. Even if the CDC comes back and says, oh, it's not as bad as we actually once originally thought, but like the percentage, I was just watching a Richie from Boston video, and it made me think, because he had shared, somebody emailed him some statistics on the likelihood of actually dying from something. So the likelihood of dying from a car crash or dying from an opium or an opioid overdose, drowning. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could be afraid of dying from. And statistically speaking, those actually are more likely to die from than COVID-19. Just let that sink in for a second. So we have this, what we consider a pandemic, and the likelihood of you dying is less than getting shot or run over by a car, statistically speaking. So, this stuff is crazy to me. It's crazy because there's people that are like, do your part and wear your mask. And you obviously don't care about your fellow man or woman. You sexist for saying fellow man. I don't know, it's just like, who gives the power or the authority to these entities? Now, the place that I work, they're all about the mainstream narrative, and I've tried to explain that in the past on this channel, but I wanted to really point out that I feel like I'm getting sick from face masks. I've said this before. I'm getting ready to put something together that really just proves that, the mainstream narrative can push people into certain ways of looking at things, but later come back and bite them in the butt. I'm connected to somebody that is probably going to get a settlement of about $1.5 million from Monsanto for having their spouse die from a rare form of cancer that came from Roundup. But for years and years, decades, like maybe 40, 50 years, I don't even know how long Roundup has been a thing. But the fact that they can give one person $1.5 million and not just a little blip out of their freaking fund says that they made a lot of money, a lot more money than we realize, but they kept it going for so long. And I bet you they hid all the information that proves that people are dying from this, Roundup or whatever. And not to mention, you have doctors who used to endorse freaking cigarettes. Oh, these are my cigarette of choice because it has much better flavor and it isn't harsh on the lungs. It's much more healthy than the other cigarettes. They say freaking crap like that. It's like,
if you were to follow a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, you would find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment? See how Camels agree with your throat. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be.
The mainstream narrative. Who gives the authority to these entities to make these mass decisions? I'm irritated because I legit have had this chronic cough, shortness of breath for freaking 2 months now, I would say. And I've tested negative for COVID. And the only reason I tested is because, I ended up getting sent home from my job because someone else tested positive. Well, crazy thing is that, the biologist or doctor, whoever it was that created these COVID tests, they're not really COVID tests. They're just RNA amplifiers. Back in the 70s, this guy freaking created this test, and he won the Nobel Prize for that. And he later come to realize he was an outspoken advocate for truth, and he actually pointed out that there's no proof that HIV causes AIDS, and that these tests are actually amplifiers, and literally, depending on how much you amplify it, everybody, 100% of the tests could be positive. So everybody has that RNA sequence, and it really just depends on how the test, how the measurement of the test is, or something like that. So it's really just, it reminds me of the philosophy of interpretation. You literally can twist things in any way that you want in order to interpret something toward your bias. So I believe that people should keep an account that literally the mainstream narrative that's being projected is oh crap, I have a freaking fire engine, fire guck. That's what my son says. Fire guck. There I go again, getting distracted. Anyways, so the mainstream narrative will always project things in a way that tries to sway the masses to literally just interpret the data the way that they want you to interpret it. But you can actually twist it in whatever direction you want to come out with a certain outcome. Now, I'm not that guy that says that anything is subjective truth. I think that there are absolutes, and I think that people need to really consider these concepts that are controversial, and realize that these controversial things are controversial because there's more than one way to interpret it. And so the CDC and the WHO are these authorities, but you have all these doctors coming forward saying, gosh, there's like so many doctors now that I've been following that are fully aware that this is a hoax or a fraud, what's happening. But they're being, suppressed by YouTube and the media and things like that. And it's like, who is YouTube and the media to determine that the CDC and the WHO is the authority on this? When in reality, they're not even actually saying what the media is projecting, because, they're saying that the likelihood of you actually dying is less than getting in a car accident or getting shot or drowning. So it's like, really? there is no basis for why people should be so concerned about this being a pandemic. Now, I'm not saying that people aren't getting sick and dying. I'm saying that, the symptoms are freaking diarrhea. Oh, I must have COVID because I freaking drank too much last night. Or I must have COVID because I got a cold. And it's like, the other thing is like my work, if I have cold symptoms, I have to hide it, because if they find out I have cold symptoms, they're going to say, oh, you need to go get tested and make sure that you wait for 2 days or whatever it is before you get the test results. And then you could get a freaking positive test that could be a false positive. So these are the kind of things that I'm concerned about, because they're setting it up in a way where we can just keep pushing this thing, this new normal, this new narrative for years to come, because they'll never get a grasp on it, and they're never going to have people cooperate like me. So they're going to have to start locking down harder and creating, more sanctions or more restrictions, so that people like myself or others willing to speak out about it, we're going to be shut up. Our channels are going to be deleted. Our freaking, we're going to get demonetized like my channel has been. And I've been trying to fight to get my monetization back, just because I feel like, I guess I would want to monetize if I have an opportunity to monetize. Even though I'm not making big money, it's not like I have a million people coming and seeing my videos every day. But I definitely am, I don't know. So I'm kind of counting down the minutes here before my son is born, and we have a week or two before my wife, we don't know. It's just a matter of time. October 25th is our induction scheduled date, and that's like 3 weeks away. But she's been showing some crazy symptoms of cramping and all kinds of different stuff. So we'll just see how it all pans out. But in the meantime, I'll touch base with you guys here and there. But if you see me take like a 2-week, 3-week break, it's probably because I just had a baby with my wife, or she had a baby, I should say. So, but yeah, I'll cut this short. I appreciate you guys supporting this channel with the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Ring the bell to be notified. I feel like I have some good information, so I appreciate those who are willing to hear me out on certain issues. So, all right, guys, have a totally wonderful day, a far out day, and we'll talk to you later.